Hey guys, welcome to the podcast. I'm Terra Harvell, founder and CEO of Harper Ellis Hair Co., a hairstylist turned multimillionaire. Over the past decade, I've scaled a multi-million-dollar, highly profitable salon and built an 8-figure extension and education platform, Harper Ellis Hair Co. I'm also the founder of Strata Salon Systems, a salon infrastructure that is actively disrupting this industry. Some people love me for it, and some people absolutely hate me for it. But I'm on a mission to give stylists and salon owners a different future than what this industry has historically offered, which is being overworked, underpaid, no real wealth, and a career that breaks your body with nothing to show for it at the end. And now I'm on a mission to expand that impact through owners and stylists who are willing to question everything that they've been told. This podcast is where I share what's actually working, from business strategy to leadership to building real wealth in the beauty industry. Let's go. So if you're listening to this episode, I already know something about you. You're probably running a booth rental salon or you're a commission salon owner, and you've been sitting with this feeling for a while. You haven't said it out loud yet maybe, but it's there. Likely what you're doing and the structure inside of your salon is just not working. There's no profit. There's no way to scale. I get it because I've walked in your shoes and it's 100% the reason I built Strata Salon Systems. So let's just start there because I don't want to waste your time today. You're probably thinking about switching your salon structure because you figured out you're capped inside of your own square footage. You did the math, maybe you even reverse engineered your targets and how much money you want to make. You looked at your books and you realize, wait a second, I own this business, I carry the risk, I signed the lease on this building, maybe even you own the building, and I'm the one who stays late and the one who answers at 9 p.m. when the water heater breaks and I'm still capped. Or maybe even you're not even making a profit. You likely feel like your salon is just one big charity because I've been there before. Your revenue is tied to how many chairs you have and how many of those chairs are full on any given day. Or you run a commission salon and your payroll percentage is way too high and it's eating up most of your profits because you want to be generous. You want to be this generous salon owner where everybody wins, and therefore you're not profitable. Everyone else is winning except for you. Your team is capped and that's it. That's the ceiling. And here's the part that really gets under your skin once you see it. You don't just want more for yourself. If it was only about you, you might have settled for being a booth rental stylist forever or even a booth rental salon owner forever. You want more for your actual team. You want to actually lead people. You want to build business success stories inside of your business, not just host a bunch of independent contractors who happen to share the same address. And we all know the truth. You cannot do that with booth rental. I don't care how good your culture is and how many pizza parties you throw or how many text threads you're in with your renters. Booth rent is structurally, by design, independent. Everybody is on an island. You cannot tell them how to run their business. You cannot lead people you don't actually employ. You can maybe inspire them. You can even be nice to them, but lead them, build them, create a career path for them. That's not the deal that they signed up for. And not to even mention, it's not legal at all. You cannot do these things inside of a booth rental salon. And here's the second thing that you've probably noticed. You want to create real opportunity for your stylist where they're not capped. But under booth rent or even flat commission model, your stylists are capped too. They're capped by time. That's a trap that nobody talks about in this industry. A stylist behind the chair can only ever live client to client, hour to hour, day to day. There's no leverage, there's no way to scale, and their income has a hard ceiling the second their calendar is full because they only ever have more work hours. And maybe they can even raise their prices a little, but there is a cap to that. We all know that. We don't live in this delusional la la land. And there's only so many hours in the week, and there's so many hours that your body can stand behind the chair before it actually breaks down. So you've got two people stuck at two different ceilings. You're capped by the square footage, they're capped by the time, and nobody's actually building anything that outlives the day-to-day grind. And when salon owners start to realize this, that's the moment owners start Googling Strata Salon Systems at midnight, probably. Or they notice how my conversations around booth rent and typical commission salons don't actually serve the industry. And now you're here listening to this podcast, hoping that I'll say something that saves you and saves your business. But look, the truth is, I'm just not going to lie to you. I'll shoot you straight. You can decide your path from here. Now, let's talk about the part that actually keeps you up at night. The backlash of being a salon owner. Because you already know what's coming. You already hear it in your head before you've even said anything to your team and told them that you're interested in changing the structure of your salon. I hear it all the time. I'm not giving my percentage of revenue to the salon owner just so they can get rich. You know that line. You've probably even said some version of it yourself back when you were behind the chair. Or maybe since you've been trying to convince stylists booth rent is good to come work at your salon, you've said it as an owner. But now that you're an owner, hearing it aimed at you, it stings a little different, doesn't it? Because you know your intentions. You know you're not trying to get rich off someone else's blowout. You're trying to build a real business, one with health insurance, real benefits and stability for your team, one with career paths, one with training, and one that's actually sellable one day or becomes a real asset for you and your family. But that's the nuance. But that nuance doesn't always land in the group chat or the Facebook pages or the TikToks. I get it. I hear it as well, and I've walked in your shoes. But here's the truth that you have to sit with before you make this move. You may have people in your building right now who are simply not aligned with the business you're actually trying to build. I mean, after all, you did hire them when you didn't have the business that you want. It's not a character flaw in you either. It's just a mismatch. Some of your people came to you because they wanted independence. They wanted autonomy. Nobody tells me what to do. That's a real preference, I guess, but it's just not compatible with the kind of salon that you're aiming to build now or the one that you may be interested in. You want one with systems, leadership, career paths, one where stylists can grow a career, not just a job, and a shared vision with you as the owner. And you have to get honest with yourself about that before you go pitch a new comp structure to a room full of people who never wanted to be led in the first place. That is a real thing. Some people just aren't interested in growth, so you have to go find and align with those who are. This means that you might have to recruit a new team. Some of your current people that you have may not make that jump with you, and that is okay. You are going to have to be okay with that as a business owner. So what's the alternative? You keep running the business exactly the way that you are running it now forever, and you never scale, you never lead, you never get the dream business that you actually started this thing to build. You just keep managing the rent checks and hoping nobody's chair sits empty this month. And when your body gives out and the door's shut, you're just hoping that someone will buy your old equipment on Facebook Marketplace. And hopefully you plan for some sort of retirement. This whole setup and the way most salon owners have to exit this industry, it just absolutely pains me. Your alternative is that you actually can build a business that's a real asset, that is scalable, and you'll thank me later if you actually decide to do this. I know it's painful when people leave. I've lived through that in every single phase of my own business. Some of the people who were most important to me, people who have helped me in the early days, people I genuinely loved working with, they leave, and it just happens. It's the way that business is. I had to make peace with something that took me a long time to actually accept. The people who start the business with you are not always the people who get you to the finish line. That's not betrayal. That's not anything against them. It's just sometimes how it works out. Seasons end, people grow in different directions, and your job as the owner is to keep building towards the vision that even when the roster changes underneath you, you get to show people that you really are committed to that vision. And the people that do actually want to build you, they start to trust you because they understand that no matter what happens and no matter what hurt you're going through as the owner, or your ego is not affected, that you're still committed to what you're building and what you said the vision is. And that is where the real change happens. So let's talk about numbers for a second, because I don't want this just to be about a vibe. I want you to actually see it. Booth rent typically runs somewhere between $150 to $400 a week, depending on your market. Sometimes climbing past that $500 mark in major metros. But on paper, that looks great for you as the owner. It's predictable, it's rent, it always shows up, whether that stylist has a full book or an empty one. But here's what nobody puts on the flyer. The renter is actually carrying their own product costs, their own booking software, their own liability insurance, if they have that. Most of them don't, I have learned. Their own continuing education. And this is the big one, the full 15.3 self-employment tax, because the IRS treats them as their own business. They have no employer match, no safety net, no paid time off, no health insurance contribution. They're a landlord's tenant, not a team member. Whether that stings a little or not, it's just legally and structurally true. I'm sorry to say that. Now, flip to commission. Most commission splits run somewhere between 40 and 60% to the stylist. And I know that number alone is what triggers the "you're getting rich off of me" narrative. But look at what that split is actually funding. In a real commission structure, the salon is covering color and back bar product, front desk staffing, marketing, booking software, credit card processing fees, and half of that stylist payroll tax. And Strata Salon Systems are also funding education, pay time off, and the health insurance, retirement match, much. Maternity leave. We give $30,000 worth of education in the first year of their career in a strata salon. And that's not the owner keeping 40 to 60%. That's the business absorbing risk and overhead. The booth renter is quietly footing these things alone. And that's what they don't fully understand. And here's a ceiling problem in plain numbers. Across the industry, the median annual wage for hairstylists sits right around $35,000 a year. That's what they're reporting anyway. That's the median. Half the industry is at or below that number. The booth rental model doesn't fix that ceiling. It just reallocates who is paying for those things. Even the sharpest, leanest booth renters in the country, the ones running their business really tight and actually producing a lot of revenue, are typically keeping around 50% of their gross once you actually account for the rent, products, software, taxes, all of the things that I've been talking about. So I had a TikTok go out the other day and it talked about how independent stylists, after they run a real P&L, are typically not more than 50% profitable. And of course, per usual, I had a ton of them fill the comments up with, I'm 70% profitable, I'm 70% profitable. It seems like that's like must be like the trend or the number that they want to say, because they all say 70, not like 68, not like 71, not like it is 70. That alone tells me what is probably happening, that they're just saying a number and they don't actually know. And I had a stylist that just absolutely went to bat that she was 70% profitable. I was like, cool, I love that for you. Send me your P&L. And she literally sent me her P&L, and I actually need to make a TikTok and respond to this, but she had no software fees on there. She had no credit card fees on there. She had no marketing. And maybe she's not paying for marketing, but that's fine. But that probably means that the revenue that she's making is not scaling. So she may be closer to that 70% but it's not a scalable income, right? And her rent was extremely low. So that's not typical in the industry. But she just basically had no overhead whatsoever. She had no back bar on there. Her color fees were extremely low, and usually color fees set at that like 10 to 15% mark, and so you can't tell me that the rest of your expenses is only 10%. That's just, the math just doesn't really math. And so what I'm learning, they have a spreadsheet and not an actual P&L. They're not actually taking their expenses from a real bank account and categorizing their expenses, putting them in the right chart of accounts to understand their real profitability. And I understand this because as a stylist, I was a booth rental stylist once, and I didn't know how to do this. And so I also, matter of fact, back then I had a notebook that I would write down my expenses on, and the math just doesn't math. The important conversation isn't about the profit number. The difference is who's carrying the risk and who's building equity while they do it. A booth renter is not building a business or equity, and it for sure is not an asset. It's still a job, because when they quit working, the business does too. When their hands physically cannot do more hair, the income stops. It's done. So here's the piece that should really, make you open your eyes. Typical commission salons do cap at the individual stylist level, but it does scale for the owner at the team level. A stylist on a flat commission split will always feel capped once they hit their time ceiling. That part is true, and I'm not going to pretend it isn't. But what we do in Strata is we created a business model that is built on structure and systems and pay that is not capped. And they can even earn income that isn't them standing behind the chair. So with real leadership and real systems behind it to continue to grow the stylist, and even a pathway to partnership if that's what they dream of, the structure truly compounds for the stylist and also the owner. Booth rental income for the owner is a flat, and it's just linear, right? One chair, one rent check. A trained, aligned, growing team is the only structure where the business itself becomes more valuable over time, not just more occupied. And so, by the way, Strata Salon Systems and Strata Salons, this is what we do, is we help make your salon not owner dependent. I mean, a business that runs without you as the owner, I know it sounds amazing, right? But that's the entire thesis behind Strata Salon Systems. It's not take more from your team. It's build a structure where growth is actually possible for every single person in the building, including the business owner itself, of course. If you really want everyone to win, you have to have a profitable scaling business. And if you are capped by the revenue or the income that you're getting as a salon owner, it's just not possible. And so here's how we actually do this, because I don't want you thinking Strata is some hostile takeover of your own culture right now. So when you come into Strata Salon Systems, we are not walking in and telling you to wreck shop and clear out your whole entire team. That is not the model. That is not how we do our consulting or coaching. And honestly, that's not even a smart business move. What we do is we help you first. We help you start painting and understanding the vision and how to articulate that to other people. Because if you don't understand it yourself or believe in it yourself, you're not going to be able to articulate that to your team. We educate you on the actual numbers, the real ones, not the scary story version, so that when you sit in front of your team members or your booth renters, you're not guessing, and you're not also getting defensive, which I've seen a lot of owners do. You can actually look them straight in the eye and show them exactly what their current setup is really netting them. The number after rent, after product, after taxes, after the ceiling that they're already hitting. And then you can show them the other side, what their income could look like inside of a strata salon structure, where it doesn't plateau, where it doesn't cap, where the second that their calendar is full, where there's an actual path upward tied to growth, training, and leadership, not just how many heads they can turn in a day. We teach you how to have that conversation with confidence instead of guilt as the owner. And yes, not everyone converts. I want to be honest with you about that because I'm not going to sell you a fantasy. Some people will hear the vision and still choose the independence of booth rent, and that is their right. But when you have your vision painting dialed in, when you actually believe that what you're building and what you can speak to like the numbers instead of speaking to them over fear, most of your team will want to convert because they believe in you probably already as the owner, and they'll believe in the vision. Everyone wants to be a part of something that is bigger than them. And the ones who don't, make room for people who actually want to build something with you, because those people are out there. There are people in this industry who want to build something massive with other people and not just be on an island on their own. So here's the truth. You're not switching structures to just take more from your team. You're switching structures because booth rental and flat commission were never built to grow past your square footage or past the clock. You're switching because you want to lead. You're switching because you want to help people actually build a career and not just a job. Some people are going to leave, and that's just not failure on your end. I could not say that enough. That's the cost of building something real. Some people are going to leave, and that is okay. And when you get honest about the numbers, honest about the vision, and honest about who's actually aligned with where you're going, not where you may be in the past or where you are today, the right team will show up. Not all of them, but enough of them. And that's how you build the business you actually started this for.